Hello, huge movie fanatic Nate reporting once again, coming at you this time from the forest. I thought it was a fitting place to review this particular movie by the name of The Forest. This is my DVD, which is, as far as I know, the best way to experience this movie currently. My Code Red DVD, and it's actually, like, I guess number 3. I think might be their 3rd release or something like this, or something like that. This came out in 2006, it says on it, and as far as I know, it's the best way to experience this particular movie on home video, sporting a anamorphic widescreen 185 transfer with commentary with director Don Jones and actor Gary Kent, the guy who plays the killer in this movie, and it's got a stills gallery. So this is the DVD. I don't know if you can still get this or not, of The Forest. Definitely a must-have for fans of The Forest, which I am. And I think they, Code Red, I want to say Code Red put out a double feature, because they put out a DVD of, the first DVD of Don't Go in the Woods as well. And I want to say they put out a double feature of Don't Go in the Woods and in The Forest, which was absolutely, a fantastic idea. So I don't know if that stuff is still available or not. You might want to check online to see if it is. But here's my review of The Forest. This movie I became aware of in 1993. I came across this movie at a video store by the name of, this kind of corporate video store kind of tried, to open in my area back in 1993 by the name of, I want to say it was Tidal Wave, and it kind of opened all big, like they were just going to conquer the world. And I think, I don't know, I don't want to, they might not have even lasted, I don't know, a year or two or whatever. But anyway, I came across this movie at a, there were several tidal waves around where I lived, and came across this movie, I think previously viewed at a tidal wave in a clamshell kind of, this is one of those stores that cut down the boxes and made, put the boxes in a clamshell. So when you rented the movie, you actually took the clamshell with the cover art, that kind of a thing. So I came across this movie in the previously viewed section of movies, and it's just like The Forest. This was originally put out on video by Prism Video, I want to say, probably in the mid to late 80s or whatever. So the first, I imagine that VHS tape that I got of The Forest is, the very first VHS incarnation of it, I would imagine. But I, discovered this, I think, in the summer of 1993, and since, at the time, I mean, this kind of movie already was right up my alley. Just a low-budget horror movie that was shot in the woods, of basically characters very much like Just Before Dawn. Basically, this movie revolves around 2 married couples. It's kind of funny because the movie starts with, well, it doesn't. After the first scene, which is kind of cool because the first scene features another couple hiking in the woods, and one of these guys, the guy in this opening scene of the movie, is actually this guy who would end up, or actually who before appearing in this movie would appear in, what is it, 2? I think 2, at least 2 Bill Rebane movies, and I can't remember the name of this guy. Stafford Morgan, I guess I lied, I can't remember his name, but he, having just recently appeared in a couple Bill Rebane movies in northern Wisconsin, he ventured out west, I guess, to see what kind of movie roles he could get out in California, and this is one of them. He was the male version of the couple in the very opening part of the movie, where you kind of have the first couple kills to start off the movie, and then you introduce the main characters that are going to permeate the rest of the movie. The premise of this movie is you got 2 presumably 30-something couples, married couples, which are, I can't remember, I think one of the couples is like, the marriage is on the rocks, ooh, and things aren't going good, and this and that, and these 2 guys basically carpool back, and forth to work, presumably every day of the week or whatever, and the movie starts with them kind of coming home, and California horrible, traffic, just, gridlock shit. He's like, I can't stand this, frickin' whatever, this traffic is driving me nuts. Though that's not word for word, that's just my rendition of it. He's just like, well, then they have this, then they're like, okay, let's grill some steaks tonight, and we'll, the kind of double date at some, just get together, the 2 girls and the 2 guys, just grill some steaks. And at that particular, grilling out session in the movie, these couples decide to go camping together. And the girls basically go off on their own, and they're going to meet the guys, and the guys end up having car trouble, so that's kind of a reason why the guys don't ever really show up, I don't think, really ever, until, later. I don't think they really ever find the girls until it's kind of too late or whatever. As a matter of fact, I think this one guy's wife, dies before, he never sees her again or whatever. So one of the blondes in this movie, or I guess I should say the only blonde girl in this movie, one of the wives of one of these characters, the one who will actually die, is also featured in the Boogeyman 2, incidentally, which is kind of interesting. So, you know, she definitely had her share of low-budget horror movies in the early 80s. I don't know if she's in any more or anything like that, but that's just an interesting side note. So basically, this movie is about these two couples going out in the woods, and I don't know, this one couple, married couple, thinks maybe it'll help their marriage or some crap like that. And I think ultimately kind of, you know, I don't think the movie is really supposed to be so much about this, but it kind of probably does bring them together at the end, because, you know, one of the couples dies and the other two couples the guy kind of saves the girl or the wife or whatever, so maybe it does save the marriage. Who knows? Maybe this maybe this awful experience will realize how lucky they are to have them, have each other and save themselves the time and trouble and money of the divorce. But the antagonist in this movie is absolutely ridiculously funny. It's this guy who, I guess, I don't know, I think he's in the commentary, and I think he was like a stuntman or something like that. I mean, I don't know what he was, but ever since I saw this in '93, I'm like, oh my God, this guy's so funny. Basically, we see a backstory of this guy as well, where it's just like this guy just goes out into the woods, and he comes home and he finds his wife cheating on him, and, you know, she just talks all down to him, and it's just like, it's this funny flashback scene where she cheats on him with all kinds of guys, you know, cable repairman, the refrigerator guy, the plumber guy, whatever. And the flashback shows he comes home from work one day to find her in bed with this other guy, and she just talks down to him like nothing you'd ever believe, and he's had enough of it, and strangles her, basically kills her, knocks her head on the thing, and she's dead. And then he goes out in this hilarious scene where he's, you know, has a struggle and kills the guy that she cheated on him with. And it's like, I don't know, it's so funny that a guy would be mad at the guy, you know, because you shouldn't really have any issue with the guy your wife cheated on with, because he didn't really do anything. I mean, I guess kind of, whatever. Anyway, and then basically he's got two young kids who she kind of abuses and locks in the closet whenever she's cheating, you know, doing the whatever, pizza guy, whatever, TV repairman and plumber. So he takes his, you know, daughter and son, and basically after killing his wife and her lover, this guy, repairman guy, goes off into the woods and just lives in a cave. And I think what ends up happening is we find out later that his two kids killed themselves. So basically his wife and his kids are kind of haunting the forest, you know, which we don't find out until later. Like I kind of told you in reverse, but, you know, when these two couples or these two girls go out into the forest, I want to say woods, but this movie's called The Forest, so I'll say forest. It's kind of like they keep seeing apparitions of like this woman, his dead wife. Of course, at the time we don't know who she is. He's kind of like this white, you know, pale ghost with a bloody mark on her head. She's like, "Have you seen my children?" She'll just appear, you know. Okay, I'm hoping that's not Daddy who's gone a-hunting, but anyway, I'll carry on with the review until I'm being chased. So she'll appear and be like, "Have you seen my children?" And it's just like, no. Once they say no, then she kind of disappears. So she's kind of haunting the woods looking for her ghost children, and her ghost children are haunting the woods trying to stay away from ghost mom. So it's kind of whatever, and we don't really know that until later on. It's explained that this guy who's not a ghost, who's still living, the only one who's living of this family, this guy who's, you know, plays the killer in this movie, is just phenomenally, just absolutely, like, unintentionally hilarious. Basically, the two guys who, you know, had car trouble end up, you know, getting the woods late, and it's not until like nighttime or whatever. They can't find the girls. And unfortunately, but, you know, before the guys end up finding this cave, you know, this guy who's the killer in this movie with this big knife goes out and attacks the two wives, and actually unfortunately kills one of them in a relatively kind of a decent kill. And, you know, so much of this movie, the stuff is laughable, but in my opinion the kill, you know, of this, you know, this wife character in this movie is done kind of, I don't know, it's kind of realistically, where she doesn't just die instantly. He's got to like keep stabbing her. It's kind of brutal. And then the other guy's wife, the one they're having a troubled marriage with, kind of hides out. And then these two guys come across this guy, the killer, living in the cave, and the guy's like offers him some meat he's cooking over a fire, and it's probably the guy's wife, and he's like, at one point he's like, oh, this is pretty good, and then he has this like this chill, like, oh my god, like maybe this kind of whatever, just he realizes maybe just through some kind of, you know, extrasensory perception that he's eating his wife, like in a quite literal different kind of a manner, unlike he's ever ate her before. But basically this movie is pretty light on kills, because I think it's just got, well, I guess if you include the wife and the lover, it's like 6, because it's the 2 couples at the beginning of the movie, then it's the one guy's wife, then it's a flashback of, you know, him killing the wife and the lover, and then the girl who died, her husband will die later on in the movie. But The Forest is definitely one of those, you know, probably not too known about kind of early 80s slasher movies, woods kind of survival movies. It's definitely very, very low budget. As a matter of fact, Don Jones, the director of the movie, said he lost his house in part, you know, because of, you know, financing this movie or trying to get it made and stuff like that. And it's just like, I don't know, I mean, personally I wouldn't go that far to get a movie made, but, you know, that's just me. You know, having a place to live is more important than making a movie no one's going to see. But in the early 80s and stuff, late 70s and early 80s, a lot of people were realizing that, you know, after the success of Friday the 13th and Halloween and stuff like that, that they were really, a lot of people were giving it making a go of it and seeing if they could, you know, have the same kind of, you know, success of Halloween. Some people did, some people didn't. And in my opinion, obviously, Don Jones was one of the people who didn't really have that kind of success, but still he ended up making what I would regard as a cult classic, a movie that probably has a nice amount of followers, enough so to be obviously released on DVD by Code Red. So I would give this movie, you know what, oh gosh, yeah, okay, I was gonna go 3 stars, but let's be realistic. We'll go 2.5 stars out of 4 stars for The Forest, and a lot of that is just kind of pure schlocky, kind of just, you know, WTF, just absolute fun. The guy who plays the killer is so unintentionally, or maybe intentionally, I don't know, absolutely hilarious. And it's kind of a fun movie. How long is this? Yeah, it's 85 minutes, so it's not that long, and it's definitely just, you know, if you like early 80s schlock kind of, you know, go out in the woods and die kind of movies, and, you know, I think you'll love The Forest. So thank you very much for watching my review of The Forest, and this is Huge Movie Fanatic Nate reporting from The Forest, saying catch you next time.